Hello, my name is David Henderson. I am a tabletop game designer and I use thegamecrafter.com to upload and publish my games. Today I'm going to be doing a two-part tutorial about card templates provided by thegamecrafter.com for use with their services. The gamecrafter.com offers a lot of templates, and I'll actually take you over to the website right now to show you where you can find those. When you go to thegamecrafter.com, you'll see the publish link here at the top. If you click that and then go down to getting started, it'll bring you to this page. Here under step 1, you'll see this link that says download our free templates. When you click that, you'll see that they have a wide range of templates for everything that's customizable by using their service. Today we're using card templates, and for the purposes of our tutorial, I'm going to use the poker card template because it seems to be the most popular, and pretty much everything I say will actually apply for all the templates anyways. So, when you open the poker card template, it'll show you that there's 4 different file types you can choose from. Today, because I'm using Photoshop CS4, I am using the PSD file, and that will give you this, which is the poker card template. Okay, now as you can see, there's a lot of writing. It's very descriptive. The template by itself is very practical and works very well, but I think that some newcomers and some new designers experience a little bit of confusion. There's a lot of questions in the chat room, so I decided to make this tutorial. Alright, I'm just going to go over the different components for the first part of the tutorial. For the second part, it'll be a few tips and tricks, maybe even some experienced game designers don't use as of yet. So, the first component here that we're looking at is the safe zone, which is indicated by this blue dotted line. Now what the safe zone is, as it clearly says there, is the area which it is safe to put all of your artwork, text, anything that you want on your card and don't want to lose, basically anything other than a background. So, you just want to make sure that everything on your card is within that safe zone. Next is the trim line, which is this red line all the way around, and the purpose that it serves for the template is it basically shows you the shape that your card is going to be, as well as the size in relation to the images on your card. You'll see why that's important later. The bleed zone here is what prompted me to make this tutorial in the first place, because someone asked a question about it in the GameCrafter.com chat room. Basically what the bleed zone is it's nothing. It's basically what the GameCrafter wants you to do is to fill in this entire template with your background, so that the background bleeds over into the card, so that when they cut them, that you won't have any a white line along the edge here or anything. And your cards will come out looking the way that you wanted them to. So always make sure you fill the entire template space with your background. The border area here is something also that there was a question about the other day. A newcomer was wondering if he used the border area the way that it specifies that you do, if his border would be this thick. But it won't. It won't be that thick. It'll basically be the size from this edge here to just into the outside the safe zone there. And the reason they do it this way is to so that they can guarantee that you'll get a nice even border all around your card. Now personally I don't use borders, but if you do, then you basically want to make your border the thickness of this square all the way around the edge of your cards, and I'll show you a little trick to that in just a moment. Finally, on the template here, you see this little note at the bottom that's just reminding you to make sure you remove this template from your card image before you save or upload it, because you don't want the template to be a part of your card, obviously, unless you're making a game about GameCrafter card templates, which probably wouldn't be very fun. But anyway, so that basically is the first part of the tutorial, just familiarization with it. Now I just want to show you a few tricks. Okay, so you see here we have the template. The first thing I want to show you is how I like to isolate the trim line so that I can use it without the template. And the way that I'll do this is I'll select the magic wand tool, and I want to just go ahead and zoom in as far as I can. Well, not as far as I can, but fairly far, and you'll see why I'm zooming in on this specific area in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and magic wand this red line, and then you'll see that it only gets a little bit of it. That's because it's broken up a little bit. So you just magic wand it twice, and you're going to make that a separate layer. And what that'll look like is this once it's all done. And actually, what I did here is I went ahead and took away this little line here because that'll get in your way. And you'll see on my other template that I actually also filled in these little blank areas here, but that's not really that important. Next, I want to show you how to isolate the borders. And I will say that there's probably a better way to do this. This is just the way that I would do it. I don't usually use borders. So what I would do is I want to take my rectangular selection tool, and I would select the square, and upon selecting the square, I'm going to go ahead and make 4 copies of this square. And when I do, I'm going to put them up in each corner of the template, and that will look like this. Okay, so when I get to this point, when I get to this point, what I would do is I want to go ahead and take that rectangular selection tool, and I want to go all the way around the edges by holding down the shift key. And I want to go ahead and select the entire edge that would be my border thickness, and then you can go ahead and fill that in on a separate layer with a color, and then you're done with those squares. You can delete that layer if you wanted to. When you fill it in, it'll look something like this. Say if you were doing a black border, that's what it would look like. So at this point, what we have is that border, and then your trim line, which together together will look like this. Okay, I'm going to switch over to my other template now and show you what I have done. Okay, this is my other template. So I have basically the same modifications that I had made before here on this template. I have that, except for I filled in the spaces like I said earlier. I have my border, which I don't necessarily use, as I said before. Now what I want to get into is a great way to make sure all of the games, all the cards in your game are uniformed and perfectly straight, and all of them look the same, because I think that's very, very important. And what I have here are guides to do that. And I'm going to switch over to my other template, and I'm going to show you how to put guides on. I'll show you how to put on a few guides. Oh, you weren't supposed to see that yet. I'll show you how to put on a few guides, and then what I'll recommend is that you make your own guides depending on what kind of card game you're making, how you want the cards to look. This is just going to be very simple. The very first ones you want to put on, though, for sure, before you do anything, are vertical guides. And I'm sorry, I didn't really specify how I did that, but you want to put these guides along your safe zone. So that way, if you're not using borders, you will know where your safe zone is. So, and then also, even if you are using borders, oh, by the way, if you go to View, go to New Guide, it'll give you the horizontal or vertical. You can just put it anywhere and then drag it along and make sure you get it to where it needs to go. So right now I'm trying to put these here. I'm a little pressed for time, so I'm kind of rushing it. I'll just put one on up here horizontally, and that's 3 sides, but you would actually want to do all 4 sides. You would also want to do this side down here. Now, the guides that I have here on my other template, it's going to look like a mess, but I assure you it's organized chaos, and I'll show you why that is. So I'm just going to go here, and I'm going to go to Show Guides. And these are all my guides that I'm using for this example card. Now, yeah, like I said, it does look like a mess, but once you're, when you get in tune with what you're trying to do, this will all make a lot more sense. And you'll see that when you start to add things to your card, they tend to snap to these guides. And when you have a good center area, then everything, you do all the math right correctly on your guides, then everything is going to it's just going to work itself out. Everything will be perfectly centered on every single card, and for as long as you use this template, everything will look exactly the same. So I'm going to go ahead and remove my modifications, and this is just the template background and my guides. And I'm going to bring up an example card that I did a minute before I did this tutorial, and you'll see that everything here corresponds with these guides. The card name is centered, the card image is centered, and the description there is centered. And you'll notice that it has a background. Everything is on the card, and it's perfectly in line. And I can move these things around, and I never have to worry about losing my place, because when I move all this around, move it wherever I want, it's always just going to snap right back into place. You don't have to worry about that. You know exactly where it goes, and that's really important to get that uniformity in your cards. I think that's about all I have for you. Well, actually, I do have one more thing. I wanted to show you an example of a card game that I've been working on, and show you how these guides came into practical use for me. And this is a screenshot of that. And you'll notice that that it's basically the same layout as the card I just showed you, but the title there, the card name is perfectly centered. The artwork on every card is centered perfectly, as this one is, and the description box that I'm using at the bottom is also centered, and the text in the description box is centered as well. Okay, I think that about concludes my tutorial, and I really appreciate you watching, and make sure you check my channel out for more tutorials in the future. Again, my name is David Henderson. I'm a tabletop designer, and I use thegamecrafter.com to upload and publish my own games. I suggest that you do the same. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you next time.